So we answered actually a good amount of questions just in general about the hierarchy right now. Because we know, like, we have the whole scope, at least, of the tip top of the Undead Unluck world. You know, the very top you have God. And he's been apparently making and resetting Earth and, like, stuff with humans just to mess with them. I'm probably guessing some, like, weird divine experiments. But everything right now, but, like, you know, below that, like, we have some of the bigger characters. Well, like, we have, obviously, like, the main cast. And then, you know, we know Billy betrayed, went to Under and stuff. So, the question for, like, that I had, I don't think I've expressed much of it, but it's always one of those things I have for a series early on. It's just kind of like trying to build, like, an understanding of what characters where when it comes to, like, how strong they are. Just because that is something you need to know when it comes to the larger scope of the story when you have some of these, like, battle action series. Like, if this was, like, something like where most of the characters were either pretty human-like, maybe just had a tricky power, or, like, you know, some form of, like, much more wider spread of, like, how the powers worked. But there's definitely, like, a difference in the series of smaller tier characters, but then, like, when it comes to any of these more significant, like, bigger folk, regardless of their power, they know how to fight, they know how to, like, hold themselves in a battle, and Juiz and Billy, I would assume, are near the top. Like, out of the humans in the world, I would assume that they are amongst the strongest. Who knows? I mean, there could easily be, like, 10 characters, or how, you know, throw a number at them, they could be stronger. Who knows? I don't imagine there's, like, a ton, because Juiz is, you know, she's the leader of, like, the main cast group. They're all pretty strong. So maybe just, like, some of, like, the bigger main villains are going to be stronger than her. I don't know, because, like, we don't know how long, almost a fantasy here, Undead Unluck is going to be. Like, we're at, 56 chapters now, and a little over halfway to 100. It can easily get to the 100. I think it can easily get to 200 if it really wants to. But, you know, that really comes down to the mangaka and just, like, how the story plays out. So, right now, like, we at least have an understanding of, like, where Billy ranks. And I would guess, out of, like, the people right now, the only person that I can see being above Billy is Victor. Because Victor, like, fully out, it is completely different than, you know, than Andy. Like, a completely different scale. And though I do believe that Billy should be fine against current Andy, Victor seems like he'd be too much. Like, as far as what we've seen so far in the series, Victor has been the most impressive. Every time the guy steps up, he does something, like, that just completely makes everybody else in the series look so much weaker. Like, even the first time we really saw him fight, he's, like, making full clones of himself from his pieces. Like, he's fine in the vacuum of space. Like, he just will not die. Like, no matter what you do to him, he's just coming back. And then when we saw him in the flashback, where, like, those big giant blood streams he made that were, like, chopping up skyscrapers and, like, big areas of the city. Like, they had, like, blood cannons. Like, I would guess that he's the only character above Billy right now. Like, again, that could change. Like, Billy definitely seems busted. He has the ability to, like, get other people's their undoing ability, like their conceptual power, which very broken. I mean, because on top of everything else, having Andy's undead and being able to heal is very, very good. But the chapter itself, like, starts out, you know, we know that Billy isn't using the undead power, like, he's not fighting Juiz fully seriously, and, like, I'm guessing that the reason that is because he's actually way stronger than her, so he's just doing his thing, talking to her. It looks like there's been a long history, like, one-on-one with them. You have, like, Billy looking sad next to a grave, and then Juiz shows up. I'm guessing that's, you know, you have one of those scenes there. Probably his power ended up killing her. Whoever he was with, somebody important to him. And then he ended up getting kind of brought into, the main cast of this organization. Which, man, it's one of those weird things. Like, I kind of wish he didn't betray everybody and turn evil, which is a really interesting part of the story, because you had a betrayal very early on. Like, I didn't expect that. I don't think anybody did. But I mean, at the same time, like, I wish we at least got one mini arc with Billy before that, just because I wanted to see what he could do. Like, he was like, if you go back and look at my early Undead Unluck reviews. Like I mentioned, Billy was probably my favorite. Just like he looked cool, he seemed pretty chill. He's got like just sick trick shots all over the place with his guns, and I really just thought that was really cool. And we have like just moments between him and the cast. Like we even see Gina in there and stuff. Like it's just general fun character moments. And then even the part with Tatiana, he's just saying that none of this has really been that, none of it's been real to him. He refers to these guys as ammo, like just stuff that he needs, you know, weapons. And now that Undead Unluck on here, he's saying that now he's got a full magazine. So he's ready for his plan to get underway. We know that with Unluck, that's going to be like, you know, seemingly the power they need to defeat God. I'm wondering, like, in the alternate timelines, because I know, like, in the previous one, the Automoon Prevented, you had, like, what was it? Unseen was going to assassinate, Izumo, take her out of the picture, and then they were going to lose, like, the one thing they needed to defeat God. So I'm wondering, like, in the other timelines, is, like, was it always Izumo, or were there any other Unluck powers? Because we know that, like, the world's repeating, but we know that they're, at the same time, they're not exactly the same. There's been slight differences. Like, there was, like, one of the times where it looked like Shui's was a dude, so there has to be, like, alternate timelines maybe where somebody else got a power, or maybe there are always, like, specific people destined to get some of these abilities. Anyway, you have, like, them just going back to the fight. He's very clearly not taking her too seriously. Like, he knows that she's strong, but she is aware that he's, this is an opening for him, or for her on him, that if he's not going to be fighting her at full serious. But right when he's like, alright, fine, he just decides to beat her so quick. And she's even using her power. She says, show me your vision of justice. And really sick spread. I wonder, like, is her sword going to ever be, like, stated on what it does? Because it could just be an artifact, you know, a flaming sword, but I would assume it does more than that, and it isn't just literally just a sword on fire. But it doesn't matter, because, like, he just takes her arm, it's, like, cut off in the snow, there's just blood dripping down. She gets away, but, like, the thing that I'm wondering is, like, why doesn't she grab her poor arm? Like, she didn't even have to grab the sword, but she, like, at least grab your arm. And another character is just like, oh shit. Like, she just got demolished. And they call it, like, a gunshot wound. So Billy just shoots off, like, her whole arm. Like, I'm trying to really kind of, like, think about that. Because you see the part of, like, the sound effects where it says, like, bam, bam. But it's just, like, no limb. So he just, like, double tapped, like, her arm with bullets. Which, impressive by itself. You know, that precision kind of, like, just in power in the shots. But Billy's a force to be reckoned with in general, and I'm glad that we got to see it in more of, like, a character-driven part, but still where it flexed, like, his strength and what he's capable of. Because that's actually really cool if he can shoot off somebody's limb like that, and it looks like a slash wound, but he's just so precise and so, you know, so accurate. It just ends up being so much more than you would expect it to be. Because I was thinking, like, did he use some power, like, chop him up? But they call him, you know, we've seen how pinpoint his shots are. You know, they stated it's a gun wound. It makes sense. It's just really weird when you think about it, just because there's not a lot of, like, big gun users, and you don't see, like, attacks like this, like, out, like, regularly. But badass in general. Like, gunshot sword sever, or arm sword swing sever. I don't really know. Either way, hyped for it. I want to see what is the plan going to be with Billy, because he's damaged at the end of the chapter. He's still hurt, but he's not just using undead to, like, make it go away. So there's definitely limitations to how his ability is of taking somebody else's power. I'm wondering what that is. Like, maybe he can only have their power on a certain time limit, so he tries to use their ability sparingly. Like, oh, I've copied undead, so I have, like, 1 minute of total usage of it or something. That actually would be really good. Like, that would be, like, a really good way to balance it, because then it's just really would come down to timing and technique on both how he uses it, but also in, like, how to defeat him, if you're able to get around that. But anyway, like, solid chapter. Like I said, I really just enjoyed seeing what was going on with Billy. Like, Billy, Unfortunately for me, the character that I invested in early, and like somehow the one character that I shouldn't have invested in the main cast. But it is what it is. I mean, I guess I should have, because he's still a character that's around, so it's all good. It's not like it's wasted. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this, and I would really appreciate thumbs up the video, prefer the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But in that, I appreciate everybody who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.